Tom, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I thought today we could talk about conversion rate. It's something that is often talked about in e-commerce, and it is an important metric. So I thought we should discuss what it is, how you measure it, and how you improve it, most importantly. So over to you, Trevor. What is
Okay, so let's start. That's a good intro. Thank you, Tom. So conversion rate, what is conversion rate? It's a ratio of site visitors to people who make a purchase. And I mean, it's pretty obvious why it's important, but it's expensive and difficult to get traffic to your site. You've got to make the most of it that you have. So let's say, for example, that you're paying to get traffic from your site, from Google Ads to your site. If you can double your conversion rate from say 1% to 2%, then your cost of sale will be lower, and Google will start sending more traffic to you because it sees that your site is doing well. So you get a kind of a virtuous circle. So Tom, tell me about the benchmarks. What is a good conversion rate?
Well, if you look online, you'll often see 2% quoted as an average conversion rate. So we see clients where the conversion rate's higher than that. We see clients where the conversion rate's lower than that. It does depend on what you're selling. So we see clients who are selling something cheap and low consideration to buy, have high conversion rates. Similarly, clients who have kind of repeat customers. If you think about a Gillette razor and the blades, Gillette website will be full of people buying replacement blades, and that will drive up your conversion rate. If you've got a complicated, expensive product that requires lots of customizing, and we saw a customizable furniture site which had a conversion rate of less than 0.1%, it's just difficult for customers to make a purchase. So it does vary, and it also varies. It will vary over time. It will vary depending on which of your streams of traffic is most prevalent. So, for instance, your email list will probably give you a very good conversion rate because these are people who are interested in your product and your brand. Whereas just standard visitors to the site coming through organic search is probably going to be one of your lower conversion rates because it could be anyone, and probably includes a lot of bots as well. We had one client who had thousands of bot hits every day coming from, I think it was Finland, Helsinki, and it made their conversion rate look awful. So I would suggest, well, that you filter your conversion rate according to the territories you're selling in. So if you're only selling in the UK, then only filter for traffic from the UK, and that will give you a truer picture of conversion rate.
Yeah, you will. A few things to note. If you're selling internationally, say you've got a UK site and you're shipping abroad, then your conversion rate will be much lower from people coming abroad. Also, if you're buying traffic from, say, Google Shopping, where people are clicking, it's very kind of intent driven. They're clicking on the ads and going to your site. You should see the conversion rate of that being much higher than, as you say, something like your direct traffic or your SEO. So what is a good way of measuring conversion rate? Tell us about how to do that and the issues that you should look for.
Yeah, it can be hard to get an accurate measure of conversion rate. There's probably two key sources of information. So one is Google Analytics. The other is your own website, and some websites have better reporting tools. We were talking about Shopify last week. Shopify has quite good metrics, and it gives you a conversion rate number. Now, they've just improved how they do that, and I didn't used to trust the conversion rate on Shopify, but I do now. And in theory, because the transaction is made on Shopify, that should be the most accurate place that you get data from. It should be more accurate in theory than Google Analytics. But have a look at both and compare them and make your own mind up whether you can trust your conversion rate data. So for instance, we had a client on Shopify, this year, where more people were completing purchases than were actually adding product to their cart. So you think, yeah, I'm not sure I trust this. They've now fixed that glitch, thankfully. So make sure you trust the data. As I said, filter out for the countries you want to be active in, that you are active in. Keep an eye out for traffic that might be bot related. You can get thousands and thousands of visitors who are never going to purchase who are bots, so be careful about that.
Might want to filter out traffic from your own company if you've got an awful lot of people clicking on from your own IP address.
well, that's true as well, and you can do that. So that's a relatively easy thing to do, is just gather up the IP addresses of people who work for you or agencies who work for you and take those out, because if you don't have a huge amount of traffic to your site, then your internal traffic could swamp the signal you're getting.
Okay, let's talk about the user experience and how this affects how conversion rate. So, I mean, fundamentally, what you're looking for is with conversion rate is have an easy to use site. So you need to put as few barriers between a customer looking at a product and getting through to checkout and buying it as possible. So this is why, I mean, we like systems like Shopify, which just work. Whereas imagine if you had a site which you were hosting yourself and went down all the time, or the checkout didn't work properly. Every time you're doing that, you're losing in sales. So that's a very important thing to look at. Site layout is very important. I mean, particularly the layout of the product page. I mean, you should have, the calls to action should be above the fold, and by above the fold we mean above the bottom of the screen. Comes from when people used to use newspapers and the top half was above the fold. We recommend using a one-page checkout. Checkout is probably the most vital part of the process. Shopify has a one-page checkout, and because their checkout's the same across lots and lots of different, thousands, hundreds of thousands of different retailers, they've really nailed it. And for most people, that is a very good, will work better than anything. Tom, have you got any other ideas for improving user experience?
Yeah, I mean, the general rule of thumb is that get your customer through to checkout in as few as possible clicks as possible. So, every time you have to ask your customer to jump through a step, clicking to get through the next level of whatever it is you're asking them to do, you're going to lose some. There's going to just be people who get fed up and drop out. So think about how can you reduce the number of clicks, and think about the information that you're showing to your customer. So, I mean, this is kind of what we call the customer journey. Think about how a customer is going to use your site. So depending on how you attract traffic, if you're using Google Shopping, almost all that traffic will go through directly to product pages. So you only need to think about the actual page itself, the product listing page. However, if you have a product that is maybe more complicated, more expensive, more technical, then you probably need to give more information and give more of a steer to your customer as to which product is the most suitable for them. So every site's unique in this respect. Think about who your customers are and how they're using the site, and help them navigate their way through it with as few clicks as possible, and showing them the information they need at every step of the way and making it easy.
Yeah. So what you need to do is, I mean, so if you think about, just put yourself in the footstep in the shoes of the customer. They time poor. They just want to get there, get the information they need, and go through to checkout. So they want to know, how much what the price of the product is. They want to know how much the delivery is going to cost, how quick it's going to get there, and what they're getting. Right. So this is why you see people with if you look at the product page, they might have some little icons underneath the buy button which says delivery in 2 to 3 days. Free shipping or something like that, because that gives the people the information they need and they don't have to go hunt for it. People don't like surprises. They don't like getting through to the checkout and finding that they have extra shipping to pay. That will kill your conversion rate. That's why it's great to have great to have free shipping, or if you're not going to offer free shipping, you need to have very, very clear shipping. So the simpler you can make it, the better. Another very important thing. So anyway, in summary, make your information as clear as possible. Have a terms and conditions page, have a delivery and returns page, but also have that information put prominently on the site. Another very important thing is the site speed. I mean, goes down to again, having a site that works, but a site needs to load quickly because people aren't going to hang around. They've got any number of options. Switching is the cost of switching is practically zero.
Yeah.
Tom, tell us about more about the product page, and also what kind of content you should have to encourage people to buy.
Yeah, I mean, people need to be confident that they're buying the product that they think they're buying. So to do that, you need to have really good product descriptions which explain what the product is, what it does, how it works, who it's for. That's often neglected. You say this is perfect for people who are looking to do X, or who have Y, or things like that. Make it really easy. People go, yes, that's me. So quality descriptions is really important. And if you have a technical product, you can add technical information. Think about how you structure it. So technical information can be tucked away in other tabs, or with links. but make sure that there's enough information there. So, whilst people generally don't go much below the fold, the people who do tend to be more interested. So they're the ones where you can put more information, put it further down. Another key thing to do is to provide high quality images and from as many different angles as possible, ideally videos, or even, you see increasingly on websites kind of 3D models that you can rotate as you wish. So that kind of thing really helps people understand exactly what they're getting and to really work out, is it for them? You're helping people make the choice that this is the right product. That's when they're going to buy.
Yeah, I'd also point out that people never read anything either. You need to make sure that the most prominent information is either in the images or in the first sentence. And people expect to get delivered what is in the picture. Now, if you, for example, you have a product which comes in multiple colors, that's death. People hate that. If the picture shows a green and they get a red, they'll hate that. So it really needs to be. And even if you put in the description, we may deliver multiple colors, they won't read it and they'll hate it. And I mean, but I used to sell toy microwaves, and people, the description said toy microwave, the title said toy microwave, and I had a big thing in bold, this is a toy microwave, and people still bought it as a microwave and still got upset with me. And even after I pointed out to them that they should have read the description, they still were upset with me. So be careful of stuff like that.
Well, and people are quite fussy about that. So we have a client who sell leather watch straps, and they are coloured in different colours. It's a natural product. So some are slightly darker and some are slightly lighter. And they get complaints from people, even though it's almost identical to the colour in the picture. It's not quite identical because all the products are slightly different because they're natural. So be really careful and make sure that what you're showing your customers is exactly what they're getting. And if it can't be, as in this instance, try and stress that. And if you can even show a kind of a picture saying, there's this range of colors or sizes, it's handmade, it's natural, it's whatever, show that range, because you only get people complaining otherwise.
So you will get, I have had cases where I've sold things, people will if you've got like you've got a picture of the old design, you haven't updated it or something like that, then you will get people buying that thing specifically because they thought you were selling the old design. So I was selling a kind of a baby bottle, and I had a customer that particularly wanted that baby bottle for their autistic son because that's the only one he'd use. And she hunted all around the internet and found the bottle that we were selling, and we sent her the wrong one, and she was really upset. So they will actually expect what you've got. So on the other hand, some people read the description too carefully, and on the other hand, people don't read it at all, and you just can't win. So tell me about. Sorry.
I was about to say, the point remains: make sure your descriptions,
I think
your product pages are as accurate as possible.
Yes, I think that's probably fair. So let's talk about payment options now. I think it's important to have a range of payment options, but not too many. I think that a card payment option and a like a wallet payment option. I think that adding, Shopify would be like, say, Shop Pay and PayPal is sufficient. I haven't really seen any evidence, in one extent, the more options you give people, the more chance they'll check out. But then you've got the other thing is, if you give people too many options, then they don't know what to choose. So I think probably one or two is good. Specifically about Shopify, I think Shop Pay is so integrated with the system and it works so well that, Shopify say it improves the conversion rate by, I can't remember the figure is, quite a lot, but enough, should we say. So I think it's worth spending the extra money and using Shop Pay. But yeah, so again, you just got to make it easy for people to check out, and some sites, for example, will only offer PayPal or something like that, and that's or only card. And I think you've got to ask yourself, what is it your customers are looking for? Tom, tell us about shipping options. We talked about shipping options before, but how do you think shipping options affect conversion rate?
Well, we've done experiments ourselves, haven't we, to show that when we offer free shipping, and just, for the record, free shipping means that you add the price of shipping into the product price rather than it being a nasty surprise later. But offering free shipping is a great way to improve your conversion rate. If you're not doing it, it's probably the single biggest thing you can do. Now, there's downsides to free shipping in that it can make your product look more expensive compared to others, especially if they're using, say, Google Shopping to find your site. But it's certainly worth doing. So we'd 100% recommend that. And then other than that, we would suggest just really clear shipping options. So having a next day delivery. So, I mean, people fall into, different camps. You've got some people for whom speed of delivery is really important. They need this product tomorrow, if not today. You've got other people for whom price is more important. So one more expensive, quicker option, one standard, slower option, absolutely fine. And then there's people in the middle who will make their own decisions. So that's quite important. Yeah, anything you got to add on shipping, Trevor?
Well, I think it's important to offer people it's very important to be clear on shipping options, I think, what they are, because people, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter it does matter what shipping options you are, but it's even more important to be able to, people will read them and expect to get them within the period that's promised. So if you're offering next day delivery, it has to arrive next day. And you have to say, give the times when it's going to be, when the cutoff and things like that, because people will read these things and get upset. I think that some people will not buy your product if you don't have a next day thing, because they just want that really quickly for a present or something, and it's an upsell, and you can charge for it. You can do in a way. So if you've got an item which is a £20 item, and you've included effectively £3 worth of shipping in that, and then you do a next day option, and then you could charge £5 for the next day option, and you'll make a little bit more money on it. And people will pay that because they just want to get that thing quickly. So it's a way of differentiating people who are less price sensitive, because those, who are happy to pay more on it. Same with things like gift wrap and stuff like that. People will be looking for these things and will specifically buy from sites that offer that. So I think that, firstly, I think that, you need to make the preferably, if you're not going to have free shipping, you need to make it very obvious what the shipping rates are before they get to the checkout. Because if they get surprised by some 50 quid shipping charge or something like that, then they're going to hate it. That'll be your main cause of shipping. That'll cause your conversion rate to drop enormously. So finally,
and by being clear, sorry, Trevor, just to interrupt there, but by being clear about shipping, you can put free shipping up in the banner at the top. Half your visitors won't read that. The best place to put it is as close to the buy button as you can. So if you're offering free shipping, put it above or below the buy button, and then people have their best chance of seeing it.
Yeah, so I think, buy button, you want, free shipping, delivery in a number of days. I don't know, something like that. Some sort of trust, little shield of truth or something. I don't know. That's the kind of thing you want. So, okay, finally, improving conversion rate. What should you, Tom, tell us what we should do to improve conversion rate? Given that you already know what your conversion rate is at the moment, how can you improve it?
Yeah, I think improving conversion rate is probably a combination of, if you like, technical and user, customer, human factors. So you need to make sure that there's nothing technically with the site that's putting them off. So make sure every page works, every link works. Make sure that your page is laid out properly. But when you've done all the technical stuff, then it's really trying to put yourself into the mind of the user. So one thing that I would 100% recommend is use something like Hotjar to track how people actually use your site. What do they click on? Where do they spend time? You'll get an awful lot of insights from doing that kind of thing. Every time we've done it, we'll sit down with some recordings and with some heat maps with a client, and we get all sorts of ideas. Usually a list of 20 or 30 small things that all help improve the conversion rate. So I would say some things that you can do are just no-brainers. Other things you might not be sure. So what's the best color to have your buy now button or add to cart button? Now, theory suggests it's a color that people notice. So make sure it kind of isn't the same as other colors on the site. But, we can all have an opinion, but, test it. We can get data. There's lots of apps out there that allow you to do A/B testing. So you can put in what the things you want to test, and it will show half your customers one thing, half another, and that will give you proper evidence rather than just opinion as to what will actually work. So, a phrase that I quite like, it's from the manufacturing expert Deeming, if you've heard of him. He said, "In God we trust, all others bring data." So bring data to it. And A/B testing is good data. Now, remember your stats from school. If 3 people have clicked one and 2 another, it doesn't mean a thing. If 30,000 people have clicked something and 20,000 have clicked another, then actually you probably got something that's statistically valid.
So we haven't talked about the only thing, and the one thing we haven't talked about is pricing. People are having a competitive price when you say they're like, it will increase the chance of you getting click through from whatever adverts you're on. So if it's Google Shopping, it'll increase the click through that, and it will increase the chance of making a sale. But obviously, you have to be cheapest.
Yes, I mean, pricing is obviously a massive factor. And you'll see that when you run promotions, your conversion rate will jump over that promotional period because people think it's a bargain and they're time pressured and more likely to buy. So I think what we're saying is understand your conversion rate. I would say don't worry too much about what it is currently, but think about what you can do to improve it. Improving conversion rates is generally not a silver bullet. There's probably not one thing that can do it. It's going to be the accumulation of dozens of little things, each of which nudges your conversion rate up a little bit. So keep working at it, think about it. I quite like having, meetings, 3 or 4 or 5 people with the site, with the heat mapping, and just generate as many ideas as you can and then test them. Not all are going to work.
Yeah, I think that the things which I've seen which have made the most difference, moving to a solid platform. I mean, again, Shopify again. Something like Shopify that just is a managed platform where it has its uptime is going to have a good uptime, and the site is going to work. Second, free shipping. It made the biggest difference, and also just basic things on the product page. So having we've seen sites which have very poor images, and the buy now button below the fold. I mean, it's just think about. Get a template for maybe someone else has built for a page, and then and copy that on your website. Just put the things people where people can need to see them.
Yeah, and keep at it. Just keep thinking, how can I improve it? It just until you get 100% conversion rate, there's always something to go for. And if you're down in the low single digits, you should be able to get your site up to 4 or 5% with an awful lot of work, but it's worth it.
Certainly. I mean, you should be, looking at 2% across all traffic sources and probably all countries. In your home country, you should be doing more than that, and also you should be doing much more than that on things like Google Shopping, intent-driven advertising mediums.
Yeah, and Google is good at pre-selecting the people who it shows your ads to. So the quality of your customers, the quality of your site visitors will also impact your conversion rate. So, for instance, you could do on Google, you can do display ads, and you can drive an awful lot of traffic using display ads, but very few conversions, and that'll make your conversion rate look awful. So find the traffic sources that work for you, understand what your conversion rate is, especially by different visitor type, and then just step by step, every month, have a discussion about it and come up with some things to test. Always have a program of things that you want to test.
I'm feeling inspired now, Tom. Okay, finally, Tom? Is there anything what have you been doing this week? What's inspired you?
What's inspired me?
Shall I start? Okay, so I've been watching Cheaters on BBC. It's quite funny. It's quite
Cheaters,
good.
as in the
it's all about this couple that are cheating on it. There's 2 couples and they're cheating on each other, and it's just quite funny. I'm reading the Valneys, as in Alexis, the Russian dissident guy who got killed. I'm reading his book, and he's funny as well, actually. It's a really good book. What a brave man, stroke stupid man, for going back.
Yeah. Well, was he doing the right thing or not? I mean, sometimes maybe you've just got to act on your principles and do what you believe is right.
I don't know. I was thinking about it. I mean, option 1 is he didn't think he was going to die, right? At which point, maybe it was a sensible thing to go back. Option 2 was he thought he was going to die, at which point I think it's quite hard to justify it was the right thing to do because he had a family and all that. I don't know. It's a bit of a martyr. It'd be an odd thing to do in a way if you knew you thought you were going to die. He must have. It must be just like people like when people climb up on Everest past dead bodies and they think, I mean, you wouldn't do that if you thought you were going to die, would you? But then if you look at the stats, you're going to die. You've got a 50-50 chance of dying. You must just think it's not going to be you. Or it's a bit like opening a business. I just think that if everyone had a realistic view about how, we all know that 50% of businesses fail, right?
Yeah.
Going into it, Dave, starting a business, look at those stats, it's a pretty bloody stupid thing to do. But we all think it's not going to be us. So it's probably just didn't think it was going to be him. Really. Your turn.
Yeah, well, I don't know when this video is going to be watched, so this might age quite quickly, but it is obviously, late November at the moment. Black Friday's next week, and we have done loads of work for our clients for Black Friday. And what's quite inspiring for me is when you start to see that actually sales are responding. So we've had a fairly quiet start to the month. It does feel more than previous years that consumers are holding back in terms of spend, and suddenly, just in the last few days, our sales have started taking off. And I find that really inspiring, because it's like confirmation that all the work you put in, and it's been a manic month, all that work begins to pay off, and your clients are happy and you're happy. So that, I found that quite inspiring.
Excellent. Tom, until we meet again, cheerio.
Bye. See you next time.